off. I call out a walk. I pray this devil die and get every evil thing the Lord got to give. And listen, I know you look at us in the state we in right now. Come here, SHALAM. Come here, SHALAM. I know you look at us in the state we in right now. Black people on drugs, and we suffering and dying. And I know it seems like you can do whatever you want to this people. I know it seems like this, but the time for glorifying yourself is soon at an end.
Shalom, Israel. This is Priest and Officer I.S.U.P.K of the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge out of Oklahoma City. And today's topic, we're going to talk about the people that was brought over here to America on them slave ships. We're going to prove that they wasn't Africans, okay? But before we get into this topic, as always, I want to let you guys know to check out Commander GEN.YAHANNA every Monday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Grill Radio Show with the last of the angry black men. Commander GEN.YAHANNA every Monday nights at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can call in with your questions or with your comments. Okay, and every Tuesday through Saturday, you can check out our free online classes. Free online classes from Tuesday through Saturday, going over different topics every day of the week, starting at 7 o'clock p.m. Okay, Saturday class, Sabbath class starts from 12 to 2. Okay, now back to the subject at hand. Like, who are those blacks on those slave ships that got brought over here to the so-called United States of America? Okay, we're going to see who they was according to the scriptures. Okay, the Holy Bible, the King James Version Bible, 1611. Okay, and we're going to prove that they were not Africans. Okay, so if you got your King James Version Bible with me, I want you to follow me to Deuteronomy chapter 28, and we're going to start at verse 15. As Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." Okay, so our forefathers were supposed to keep the commandments and the laws and statutes of the Most High. Okay, and he said if you was not to keep them, all these curses will come upon thee. Okay, so we know that our people was cursed, okay, because they didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Okay, we're gonna get some more on this topic. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 39. We're gonna get some on this. It's Ezekiel chapter 39, and we're gonna start at verse 23. Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 23 says, "And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquities." Okay, it said the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquities. Let's get that again. Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 23 says, "And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquities, because they trespass against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword." So we fell by the sword because the Most High gave us into the hands of our enemies, because our forefathers didn't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? And it said, "The heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity." See, the heathen know why we went into captivity. That's why they fight against us every day, for us not to know who we are, for us not to get back into these law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High. Okay, it says it right here. Okay, because we had trespassed against the Most High. So he hid his face from us. We have not been able to cry aloud to the Most High for him to spare us, because our forefathers did what they did by not listening to him, by not hearkening unto his voice. So he hid his face from our people. Okay, but now the time is up where we're knowing who the Most High is, and we're waking up to who we are according to the Bible. Okay, So, once again, it said, and the hearken shall know that the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquities. So it didn't say the Africans went into captivity. It said the house of Israel went into captivity for their trespasses against him. Okay? Into the captivity for their iniquity. So we went into captivity for our own iniquity. Okay? Because we had trespassed against the Most High by not doing what he said do, by not keeping his law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? So from here, let's get some more on this. Let's go to Luke. We're going to go to Luke chapter 21. Luke chapter 21, and we're going to start at verse 24 to get some more on this. Okay? Luke chapter 21, verse 24 say, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Okay, this is Christ speaking. Hamashiach Yahushua said, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword. So that's what's happening. We're falling by the edge of the sword. Okay, and shall be led away captive into all nations. So you got Israel. We're scattered in all nations upon the face of the earth. We're scattered everywhere. For every place, you got an Israelite there. Okay, so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Native Indian. Okay, we're scattered all over this place. Okay. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles. And that's what's happening right now. In our homeland in Jerusalem, you got the Gentiles. So the Gentiles, so-called Jewish people, the Jewish people in our land right now. Okay, and they're not supposed to be in our land. Okay. And those are fakes. Okay, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. See, their time going to be fulfilled too. The Gentiles going to know that they're not supposed to be in our land. Okay, the Amalekites know that they're not supposed to be our land. So you have two types of Gentiles. You have Israelites, that's Gentiles that's living like the heathens. Okay, because we're scattered everywhere, just like we're scattered in America. The Israelites aren't calling themselves Israelites, they're calling themselves Americans. And they're taking on American customs. While people are scattered all over the nations. And we're taking on the customs of these other heathens, instead of our own nationality as Hebrew Israelites. Okay, our people are not keeping the customs of our people. We're not doing what the Most High said do. Okay, because we're stuck in these philosophies of America. We're African Americans. We're stuck in the philosophies of the Africans. And Kemet. Okay, we're stuck in the philosophy of the so-called Buddhism, Hinduism. For every religion and nation that's on this planet, our people are in following it foolishly and not knowing the ways of the Most High and not knowing their own nationality and not coming back to their own truth. This Bible was written for us. It's the records of our ancestors, okay? So we're going to get some more on this. So from here, let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 and get some more on this. Because there weren't Africans on those slave ships, okay? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68 says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. How did the so-called black man get over here? With those cargo slave ships made by the Arabs, okay? We were sold to the Grecians by the so-called white man, okay? So like by the so-called Arabs, we were sold to the Grecians. And the Africans sold us to them, okay? And the Arabs made the ships. So all of them had a hand in our captivity of being brought to this so-called America, okay? With ships. By the way, wherefore I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. And we ain't seeing our homeland again. Seeing our homeland in control of our own things. We're not running our homeland. We got so-called Jewish peoples in our land right now. The fake Jews, they're in our land. Okay, and you got a group of so-called Israelites that's living outside the land that misunderstood the scriptures and don't understand the scriptures. When he said, come out of her, my people, it didn't mean physically leave. It means come out of the ways of America and come back into your own knowledge and understanding. Okay, your own heritage, which is in its Bible. Okay, so We don't have our governors. We don't have our king over us right now in our own land. We're not ruling our land. Okay, those heathens are in our land right now. It said we shall see it no more again. Okay, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for slave bondmen and bondwomen, slave men and slave women, and no man shall buy you. Okay, so what happened when we came to the so-called America? Okay, we got sold to our enemies for slaves, slave men and slave women. Okay, you can't deny that. We the ones was on those auction blocks, 35, 45 sold. Okay, that was us. That was our people. We wasn't no stinking Africans. The Africans sold us to the hands of the Grecians. Okay? And it said, no man shall save thee, shall buy thee. Buy is an old Quaker English word meaning save. Like for all the so-called black, so-called heroes, Martin Luther Kings, your Malcolm X's, your Marcus Garveys, none of us could get us out of this captivity to save us. But there's only one black man that can do that, and that's our King, Christ, I.S.U.P.K. He's going to come deliver us. Okay? So those wasn't no Africans on those slave ships. So we're going to get some more on this. Let's go to Isaiah. Let's see what Isaiah have to say about this. Isaiah chapter 22. And we're going to start at verse 17. This Isaiah chapter 22, verse 17 says, behold, the Lord will carry thee away with a mighty captivity and will surely cover thee. Okay, so what happened? We got carried away with a mighty captivity. Okay, mighty. They came in and rounded us up and threw us on the ships. Some of us jumped over the ships and died. Millions of us jumped off the ships because we didn't want to be in captivity. Okay, and for the rest that stayed on the ships, we was treated harshly. It was treated badly. Raped. We got killed, lynched, whipped with the whip. Our backs cracked open. They did us bad. Okay, we're going to drop down to verse 18. He will surely violently turn and toss thee like a ball into a large country. And America is their large country. Okay, there shall thou die. And there the chariots of thy glory shall be the shame of the Lord's house. Okay, and we shamefully, okay, got tossed like I said, we got tossed violently and turned thee like a large ball in the country. Okay, like a ball into a large country. That's why we got rolled violently like a ball into a large country. And we didn't know what we was in for when we got over here. And it's been hell ever since. They've been doing all kind of stuff to us over in this wicked kingdom. And our people are stuck in this philosophy of America, living with the so-called American dream. Okay, well, that American dream is a nightmare. Just like so-called Martin Luther King dream was a nightmare, okay, for our people. And they're doing everything they can to our people to keep us down, keeping us from knowing who we are. We're not Africans. And this didn't happen to no African. This happened to the children of Israel, so-called black, so-called Hispanic and Native Indians. Okay? So we're going to move on and get some more of this. Let's go to Joel, chapter 3, to get some more on this. Joel chapter 3, verse 3 says, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Okay? So they cast lots, they gambled for us. Okay, and have given a boy for an harlot, made our boys into harlots, whores for them, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink, and selling our women, made them whores just for the drink, so they can drink and be wealthy off of us. Okay? This wicked, evil kingdom that we're in right now, we got tossed into violently, like the scriptures say. We rolled into it, or violently tossed a turn like a ball into this country. Okay, this so-called wicked kingdom that they stole from the Native American Indians. Okay, the so-called Esau, you're going to pay for what you did to our people, the 12 tribes of Israel. We're not Africans. Okay, so we're going to get some more on this. Let's drop down to 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians. So the so-called Africans, the Hamites, they sold us into the hands of the Grecians, the so-called white people, the Edomites. And this is coming straight out the Bible. It's not my words made up. It's coming out the King James Version Bible. Okay? And the children of also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. And we're far from our borders. Okay, our borders is in Jerusalem, Israel, the so-called Palestine. Okay, this day, Israel, that's our homeland. Okay, that's where we come from. Not no African, not no Africa. There wasn't Africans being sold by Africans, other Africans. They sold the children of Israel, just like the scriptures say. What more proof do you need? Okay, so let's get that again. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their borders. And America is far away from Israel, so we're far away from our borders. Okay, we're far away from our homeland that was promised to our fathers. Okay, they stole us. The so-called Africans rounded us up. Okay, the reason why we was in Africa was a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. You can read in that book, like in 65 to 70 AD, where Jerusalem was under captive, and all the so-called white people, the Romans, they came in and was trying to round us up and force us into slavery again. And they slaughtered us. They were slaughtering us. So we ran from the captivity, and we ran and tried to blend in with the Africans, okay, with another dark-skinned people. But the Africans rounded us up. They knew we wasn't African. They rounded us up. And like the scriptures say, they sold us to the hands of the Grecians, the so-called white men. And we've been here ever since. And they said we got over here in the slave ships. Okay, the Africans rounded us up and sold us to the Grecians. And Deuteronomy told us that we was coming into slavery on the slave ships. It didn't happen to Moses and them in their time. It happened to us. Okay, because we're the children of Moses and them, the Israelites of the ancient. Those are our people. We got put on them slave ships and sold into the hands of our enemies, as it said in Deuteronomy 28:68. We were sold for slave men and slave women in the hands of our enemies. Okay, and nobody has saved us to this day. That's why we waiting on our King, Yahweh, HaMashiach, who you so-called falsely called Jesus Christ. Okay, so we're going to get some more on this. Let's go to Luke. We're going to go back into Luke. We're going to go to Luke chapter 1 to get some more on this, because we wasn't African. We just was in Africa, like I said, trying to flee Roman persecution. But the so-called Africans rounded us up and sold us into the hand of the stinking Grecians, them stinking Africans. That's why we don't have love for no Africa. The Africans had a hand in bringing us down, just like the so-called white men and all these other heathen nations. They're going to get paid back for that, though. So let's go to Luke chapter 1, and we're going to start at verse 71. Luke chapter 1, verse 71 says that we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. So when our King Christ come back, HaMashiach, Yahweh HaMashiach, when the Most High send him back, he's going to save us from all the hands of the people that hate us. Because you know the so-called black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man is hated all over the world. They hate us. They hate our being. They tried to destroy us every way that they could. But the Most High see that it didn't happen. Okay? So we're going to drop down to verse 74 and get some more on this. That he would grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear. Okay, so when we get delivered out the hand of our enemies, we're going to serve the Most High without fear. Okay, and our people right now, they're afraid to serve the Most High, even though they know the truth. You know the truth, but you scared to serve the Most High. You scared of what the white man going to think about you. You scared what the Asians going to think. You scared what the so-called Africans, the Hamites, are going to think about you. Okay, but we're going to be saved, and when we get saved out this captivity, we're going to serve the Most High freely. Okay, without fear. So all this fear that you got of these other nations, man, y'all need to wipe that out, because we're the children of the Most High. Okay, we're the descendants of Moses and Aaron and Joshua. All of them was our people. Okay, like it was promised that we was going to be delivered out of this captivity. Okay, then the Africans, no Hamites, no Asians, no Greeks went into captivity like us. Like the scripture said, we those people that got brought over here on them slave ships. The Holy Bible proved that. That's what we just went over just today. We are Israelites and not Africans. And that we was punished because our forefathers didn't keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. That's the reason why we got rolled into this country like a ball, violently tossed and turned into this country. Okay, we got lynched, whips on our backs, all because we failed to keep the commandments and the laws and the statutes of the Most High. Okay, so now that you know you're Israelite, now you know you're supposed to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments of the Most High through I.S.U.P.K, I.S.U.P.K. Okay?
When nowadays I work hard on the job, till I come cross still like I'm a criminal. Crime and get caught, it could be your first charge. Like, man, you ain't getting the minimum. It go dip, squat, 5 mile run, push, pull, sit on, goddamn, strong. Looking at my baby, trying to keep them doing wrong. It's too long before they grow, I can't leave them on their own. They killed Day like he had a 30-day cake. The news covering up the story for what they say. It took me back to the time we lost Otis. Pretending these crackers, they gon' tell you something bogus. And I'm thinking like, damn, what you tell the kids? We tried to put up a fight, but did we fail the kids? Cause they really got us looking like no damn good. And why success got to cost my manhood? Hey, like,